Awesome. Well, it's about 10:03, so I would say let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all so much for joining us. Really excited to be kicking off our last webinar of this series this year of Give Miami Day. So really excited to have everyone here joining us. We have a really new and interesting topic that we're going to be covering today with our guest speaker. So really excited to introduce her as well. So today we're going to be going over how to leverage volunteers for Give Miami Day and beyond using the new Virtual Volunteer Florida portal. So really excited to have Anna Dilernia joining us, and I'll introduce her and her organization in just a moment. But so as far as today's agenda, we are going to be kicking it off with an icebreaker activity. And then Anna is going to be going over the portal, the Virtual Volunteer Florida portal, to give everyone a bit more information about how to leverage that portal for Give Miami Day and all of any other initiatives that you may have going on in which you need volunteers. So she's going to go over how to use the portal and examples of ways to use the portal, for Give Miami Day specifically, and any of your other initiatives that you have going on. And then we are going to open it up for a Q&A session. So feel free as we're going through the presentation to drop any of your questions into the Q&A feature, and we'll get all of those answered at the end of the session. And then one other housekeeping note, we are recording this session, and so we'll be posting it shortly after, hopefully by end of week this week, to GiveMiamiDay.org, the key dates and trainings page. For anyone, if you may need to drop off early, or for those, of course, that aren't able to join us live today. And so really excited to introduce our speaker for today, Anna Dilernia. She is Chief Impact Officer and founder at Level Up Impact Group. She is the creator of Virtual Volunteer Florida, and so she's here to share more about the platform and just really, ways that our participating nonprofits can utilize it. So I will pass it over to Anna, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Great. Thank you, Chelsea, for that introduction. I'm very excited to be here. As Chelsea mentioned, I run my own consulting firm, which is called Level Up Impact Group, mainly focused on nonprofits, governments, and anything to do with the public sector and how we can level up our impact, right? And so one of my projects that I get to work on through a partnership an innovation grant is Virtual Volunteer Florida. And I'm excited to share with you that brand new tool with you today. But to get us started, one of the things I like to do for us to kind of get started, to start thinking a little bit more creatively and also thinking collaboratively. So the tool I'm going to show you today was built with collaboration, and it wouldn't be possible without like the massive brain impact of the Miami-Dade community, and especially the nonprofit sector. So to get us started, I want to play a little icebreaker with you. So if many of you might have played this game before, but it's called Scattergories. So the way Scattergories works is that you're given a letter, and in this case, the letter is D, and you'll have categories 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 categories. And you'll have to name something that starts with that category. So for instance, if the category shows up with category number 1, say movies, and it starts with the letter D, you might want to say Dune, right? So what I'm going to have you guys do is write your answers in the chat. You're only going to have 15 seconds, and let's see how many creative answers we can come up with. Does everybody get the idea? If so, type it yes in the chat. Yes, I got yes, yes, yes. Who's excited for this? I'm excited. Who's super competitive? All right, everybody ready? So the letter is D, and we're gonna hit play. You only have 15 seconds. Ready? Go. D, category 1, tourist attractions. Number 2, furniture. Again, they have to start with the letter D. Things you get in the mail, things in the refrigerator. Words ending in N. Oh, time's up, time's up. What do we got? We got Disney, tourist attractions, Dune. All right, got it. I appreciate the person who said Disney. Awesome. All right, we got desk, dining table, furniture. Anybody got number 5? Anybody get to number 5? Let's see. Words ending in N. That was quick. Yeah, exactly. We didn't quite get it to end, right? All right, you guys want to try one more time? Let's see if we can do it again. Okay, you guys ready? I'm going to see if we can actually get to the last category. That was just a test. Okay, restart. New letter. Ooh, J. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do 3 categories because it's a J. Okay, ready? E. 3 categories, 15 seconds. Let's see if we can get all the way to 3 together. All right, go. E. Board games. 2. Cosmetics, toiletries. 3. Things that are found in the ocean. Let's see what we got. Okay, all right. Things that start, board games would start with E. Anybody? Board games? I got nothing. Nobody got an E. Well, I think let's see. Escape. I would not have thought of that one. All right, good. Eel? Eel's a board game? I don't know. Things found in the ocean. Got it. Number 3, we got it. Eel. All right, good job, guys. So now that you've had a chance to kind of get your brain working a little, I like to do this little icebreaker again, just to show like the world of collaboration and how I definitely would not have gotten an answer for board games, I don't think, or even ocean. I don't think I would have gotten eels either. So I think that's kind of the idea behind it, is like collectively together we can make an impact. So today, what you're here for is to learn about how to leverage volunteers for Give Miami Day and beyond, right? So I'm here to talk to you today about Virtual Volunteer Florida. And this initiative, it was basically born in a living room here in actually Brownsville, Miami. And my friend and I, Dr. Iqbal Akhtar, who runs the East West Foundation, which is a nonprofit based in Brownsville, and his wife, Zafreen Joffrey, we were planning in, I think it must have been February of 2020. We knew that the Children's Trust Innovation Grant was coming out, and we decided we wanted to apply for it on behalf of the East West Foundation. So we were trying to think like what would be an innovative, useful, kind of changing idea for the South Florida community, particularly when it comes to the nonprofit community. So when we were sitting in their living room, and actually at the time, I remember they were getting a new dining room table. So there was literally like no furniture in their living room. So we were mostly just sitting on the floor, thinking through some great ideas. So through this brainstorm, what we came up with were a few things that we were noticed when it came to volunteering. There were some big barriers we saw to volunteering. Dr. Iqbal Akhtar, again, he's an executive director like many of you. He has more than one job. He's also professor and director at FIU of Religious Studies. He's an extremely involved civic leader, particularly in the Muslim community. He is very, very, very busy. And he also wants to leverage volunteers to help get more people, say, to Brownsville, right? And that Allapattah area to help support it. But it was very hard for him to manage volunteers, right? And along with his giant to-do list. So we were like, this is a barrier. It's very hard for Iqbal to manage all these volunteers. And it's not always possible. It's sometimes just easier to do it yourself if you don't have an easy way to get volunteers, right? He'd rather work at midnight sometimes than try to coordinate with a volunteer, which, you know, happens to all of us. And the other thing was that we found was people want to volunteer, but they also are very busy, right? And they juggle lots of barriers, including transportation issues. Like South Florida, we don't have the world's best transportation system. If you're a student or a person with a disability, or you have tons of just schedules and things like that, it can be very hard to physically get to a location, right? And the times also when something is open can be very hard, particularly if somebody is balancing school and work or school and family life. So considering all these things and this brainstorming kind of idea, we came together. We noticed that there wasn't really a model that existed in the community that served kind of a wider purpose, like helping to focus on that to-do list. So what we noticed was there was 2 types of volunteer opportunities for the most part that existed. The first one was the event episodic type volunteers, kind of show up, help me pack boxes, help me with the Thanksgiving drive. All these are totally great, impactful options to have. But again, there's barriers to those as well. Or you had option 2, which was a committed ongoing volunteer. So those are things that, you know, like a volunteer counselor. So maybe a camp, you might have a volunteer counselor there, or just where you're almost have like a staff role with roles and responsibilities, a schedule, an ongoing commitment in some way, right? So what we were thinking about is like, well, those are great. Again, these are great things. I'm pro all types of volunteering, right? But maybe there's a way to think differently about this, right? And thinking about like that to-do list a little bit more as a nonprofit leader. So what we came up with and we got funded for from the Children's Trust Innovation Fund was to focus on to create a digital platform that allowed nonprofit organizations to post tasks and activities that they needed help with all online, and where they can connect with volunteers who do them online as well, right? So plus, basically if you take your to-do list and you can imagine it today. So today, think about your to-do list of things you might need to do, whether it's for Give Miami Day or anything. Take a look. Everybody just write one thing you might need to do today that you could possibly delegate to somebody online, is what I tell people. So somebody write in the chat, what's one thing that's on your to-do list that you could potentially get a volunteer to do? Take a look. Make calls. Great. That's a great one, right? Anybody else got any examples of things that are on your to-do list? Social media follow-ups. Great example, right? There's plenty of things I'm sure you guys can think of. Or you could even say, make a social media post. Maybe even sometimes you need help. I know I do, where sometimes I just need to talk to an expert, right? Like I just need to, make a phone call and talk to somebody who knows social media better than I do, right? Or know somebody who is in the fundraising space who can give me advice, or vice versa, right? So there's lots of things you can think of differently that can help nonprofits with their capacity building. And that was the whole point of our project. So what have we been doing? So we've been working on this project since January. Like I mentioned, we got a Children's Trust Innovation Fund for 1 year. And the first stage we did was inspiration. We talked through to everybody we could think of who was representing nonprofits, faith-based organizations, professors, service learning students, volunteers, all kinds of professionals, even corporate people like Royal Caribbean, who use quite a bit of volunteers for employee engagement. And we got tons and tons of feedback on what were the needs, right? And we actually even found a tech partner who had the same idea here in South Florida. And we built that with him, actually, so that our partner was, we found that partner through the interviews, and our tech partner is sharing us. So we built off of their 2 years of startup work, so that we built this platform instead of from scratch, we built it with them. So after we got all this great feedback, this tool has been built with Miami-Dade specific nonprofit organizations feedback, just like yours. So that's like the best thing, is that it was built for you by people who are just like you. So, and volunteers as well. So what else after we did that, we prototyped it. So we tested it out to see, based off of the kind of the feedback we received, what did they need? What does nonprofits need? And things like that. And got a lot of tech requirements, redid it. And then in May, maybe some of you even went to it, we had, as part of 10 Days of Connections, a soft launch of Virtual Volunteer Florida to pilot it in kind of the real world. We did it with a webinar called Save the World in Your PJs. So the idea is that you could volunteer anywhere, including in your PJs. If you can watch Netflix in your PJs, I'm pretty sure you can volunteer in your PJs as well. So from there, we collected even more and more feedback. And then now, as of September 1st, we are out in the wild, as I call it, and it's live and it's open to any organization and any volunteer who wants to join us. We are over a month old and we have over 100 volunteers already signed up, super eager to volunteer. And that's where you guys come in. So today I'm going to train you on how to leverage this brand new tool so that you as a nonprofit organization can take advantage of this tool for your task and activities as part of Give Miami Day, and also thinking about that beyond. After this fall, what we're doing, and it's very kind of important, you guys are an important part of the grant impact we're having as it thinks of sustainability, right? So you guys are going to be the first people kind of using it. We've been testing it. It works perfectly fine. But everything and how you use it and the case studies we see are really going to show us the real impact this is going to have. So we really appreciate you being here and learning about this. Okay, so the first question you might be asking is, well, where is this tool? Well, the tool lives on a website called virtualvolunteerfl.com, and I'll drop it in the chat so that you can see it. So this is it. This is the place to go. You can, follow us, and all you have to do is click sign up. It's very simple. Again, registration is open. Once you get there and you decide, hey, you know, this is a good idea for me and my organization. I want to create a profile. You would just click sign up, and then you will create a profile based on what you want to join. Majority of you will join as nonprofit organizations, but if you wanted to just volunteer on your own, you could just create a volunteer profile as well. So if you go to virtualvolunteerflorida.com, you'll see that if you sign up as a volunteer, you'll have the opportunity to find volunteer opportunities, explore organizations that have created profiles, connect with community organizations to do activities. You will receive service hours if you volunteer online, and have a chance to gain all these great experiences. Today, I'm going to heavily focus on the nonprofit side, but if anybody has any questions about the volunteer side, I will gladly talk you through them. So again, the first step you would want to do if you're interested in this is go to virtualvolunteerfl.com and click sign up. Once you're there, you're going to have all these options, which I'm going to go over today in detail so that we are setting you up for success. So I'm just going to stop here. Does anybody have any questions about kind of the sign up process? And then I'm going to go train you kind of detail by detail of like all the functionality of the profile and the sites. Again, this is a free tool. This is grant funded. So if you guys have any questions, let me know now. If not, I'm just going to keep going. Feel free to just drop it in the chat. Nope. Do you see any questions, Chelsea? Or no? Okay, perfect. All right. So how to create a profile. Again, all you do is go to virtualvolunteerfl.com. Why is it FL? The other domain wasn't taken. Okay, so again, you'd go here, create it. And then once you have a profile, which takes maybe 10-15 minutes to create a profile, your profile will look like this. Let me show you real quick. So this is my organizational profile. So once you create a profile, this is what it looks like. It has like your website and your goals, your populations you serve, and things like that. Once you create that and create a login information, you'll be able to tackle that to-do list. So the first thing you might want to do is create activities so volunteers can access your organization, right? So when you go to, when you go and log in, I'm logged in here as an administrator, you'll see a number of buttons. This screen here is your dashboard. We are brand new technology powered by ShareNest, which is the organization that we've developed this with. And the buttons might have moved over, but it's the exact same premise, I promise. All you have to do is create an activity. So that's the first thing. If you're interested in, say, somebody mentioned, hey, you want to do the calls, you want to get a volunteer to help you make calls, right? So you would click create an activity. Once you create an activity, you do have the option to say this is an online activity. Somebody can do it again in their PJs or in person. We do have the option to offer in-person activities. Obviously, we've been focusing on breaking those barriers when it comes down to volunteering, but we know that organizations need in-person volunteers. So in addition to virtual activities, we have the opportunity for you to create in-person activities as well. So it's not exclusive virtual opportunities, because the idea is for you to make your lives easier as a nonprofit. And this is heavily a software that's intended to help you with all things volunteerism, not just virtual volunteerism. Okay, so the first thing you would want to do when you create an activity is here, create an activity. In this case, we've created an activity where we want help drafting an email so that we can send it to our board members. Okay, we want help with fundraising, which is the service category, and in this case, donor engagement. So what we would like to do is somebody to create a template for us to email and write information, and so that we can use it for our Give Miami Day. And we even include information of what it was, and they can take a look at our org profile. And that's it. So as soon as you create this activity, you go ahead, you can see how many, the due date you assigned it. You can assign it a due date. You can say between this range, you can say it happens every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. You can see I need 3 people for this activity, and I will give them 2 hours on estimated volunteer services. And then from there, what you'll do is just click create activity. And that's as simple as that. And once you do, you also have the option in case you wanted to have activities where you just say any person, any volunteer can join my activity. I don't need to vet them. Like, I don't want to look through their profiles to see if they have the skill to match the need. If you would like to, then you just turn this off so that the organization can not auto accept. You can review the volunteer request you get for this. And then you create the activity. Pretty simple. So once you create an activity, it's very simple for you to manage activities and then award volunteer hours. How many people in their lives have had 8,000 spreadsheets tracking all your volunteer hours over here and like paper documents over here, and then you got volunteers calling you, I need my hours, please. So we made this intentionally so that you don't have to do that. What you want to do instead is everything is built into the system to award volunteer hours. So all you do is click manage activities. So remember the activity I just created here? What you would do is click, the activity information and volunteers, and then you would click manage activity. And once you manage activity or manage the volunteer, if you manage activity, you can edit the details of your activity. So if you wanted to change something, but manage volunteers is how you award volunteer hours and review the content and information they shared back with you. So in my case, I have an activity related to creating social media posts for Give Miami Day. I have 4 volunteers that have signed up for this activity already. And I have Carla, Lance, Felipe, Maiza Martin. At this point, they haven't submitted anything, but if they had, all I have to do is click mark as complete. I can review the files. There's even a little chat button. I can send them a chat message. I can send them an email, so you can communicate with the volunteers as well. So related to the activity. And then if you're happy with what they submitted to you, you click mark as complete and you rate them as well to see. It's a 2-sided rating system, so they can rate you and their volunteer experience with you, and you can rate them and the volunteer experience you as a nonprofit and award them hours. So as soon as you hit award and submit 2 hours, on the volunteer side, they get those hours. So there's no need for you to create a different report for them. All they have to do is run their own reports, which I'll show you later. So pretty simple, right? Create activities, manage the activities, manage the awards, managing the opportunities for you to award things. Pretty simple idea. And again, all within a website. So this all lives on a website. All right, now the other cool thing I like about Virtual Volunteer Florida is that oftentimes we would see, and I see it on Facebook all the time and in WhatsApp chats that people send me, oh, I need volunteers for this. Can you spread the word, right? Which is a great thing. Again, very awesome. But it's kind of hard to do that, right? Hard to do that. And sometimes you might have even volunteers that you need a specific skill set for. For example, maybe I need an attorney. I need an attorney to help me write a policy or something. Or I need an HR professional to help me with my COVID vaccine policy, right? I don't have the volunteers that have that skill set, right? But maybe I could find them in here. So we have an opportunity for you to go what we call going fishing. So you can go look for volunteers and search for volunteers too. So these are, again, over 100 volunteers we already have signed up that have profiles. So all you would do is go back to your dashboard, click search volunteers, and you can search what kind of services they offer. You see all the volunteers, their profiles, their ratings, and different services. For instance, say if you want digital marketing support, you can just go search and see if there's somebody who has that experience and could help you. So you could just reach out directly to these volunteers. The other thing you can do, which I think is pretty handy, and we have a little thing to show you kind of what this little thing looks like. There's, again, all the volunteer profiles you can see. My favorite. So the other thing you can do is, say you find a volunteer that matches the skill set you need or an activity you need help with, you can invite them to directly towards that activity. So if I want to say, I already created that activity that I needed help with, and I just invite them directly to it, and they get an email inviting them to the activity or inviting them to have services done. In this case, I might want to have some services done. I request them, and at the same time, I create the activity so I can manage it later. And see, I create activities. Done. And sends it out. So not only can you kind of post things to hope that the pool of people, take advantage of your volunteer opportunity, but you can also go fishing for them is what I call it. So that you can have, again, that two-sided world. So it really helps. All right. Now you might be asking yourself, hey, that sounds cool. I created some activities. I created my profile. I'd be able to know how to fish for, volunteers. That's pretty cool, Anna. What about contacting them? I might want to contact them, correct? So when you go to search for volunteers, you can also email them a chat. We have a chat feature built into the platform, and it's already there. So all you have to do is click chat and you'll see all their chats and everything will live there. And I can show you what that looks like as well, just so. So this is the chat feature, so I can email and chat back. So makes it simple to contact volunteers so you're not kind of always digging through your email, or it's also helpful if you have more than one administrator or staff person handling volunteers. So it all just goes to the same place instead of somebody's personal email account. Okay. Now, the other thing that nonprofits told us a lot about their need was generating reports. So I'm a giant data nerd. I love data. I love reports. And I know funders love reports. I know you want to understand your impact and all kinds of things, right? So we made it easy to do reports as well. Not only can you manage volunteers, recruit volunteers, manage activities, but you can also have reporting. So to do a report as an administrator, you just log in, click reports, and you can download all the volunteers here. Click download and it comes as a CSV file, and you can see an example of the names, even has their contact information and how many hours they did. And that's it. It's super simple to generate those reports as an organization. The other thing too I mentioned is that the volunteers have access to their reports too. So no more need for you to send them their hours or anything like that. All you'd have to do is point them towards here, report. Go ahead, here's your report. Go ahead and download it. As soon as they finished, got approved, their hours got approved, it shows up right here. And they can click download and that's it. Pretty simple, right? So another thing we have built into the platform are additional training videos. So the way to access those, and we're adding those all the time as we learn more. And again, we just launched September 1st, so we're learning as well, just along with you. But we do know that in addition to this live training I'm doing with you, you might have specific questions, or you might have other staff that have questions as well, or even volunteers that will help you manage this. And we have a number of training videos already built in. So all you have to do is go to your kind of log into your profile and you'll click on a little down arrow and it has tutorials. So if you click on tutorials, we have a number of 1-minute videos to show you how to do all these little things. Great. So thinking about all these things, especially thinking about Give Miami Day, right? If again, this is a free platform that can help you reach a larger audience. Remember, we can go fishing for those volunteers and, help you as an organization manage those a little easier too. You can build some stronger relationships when it comes to the volunteers that are on your side, so you can have better communications. And at the same time, access to free services. These are all volunteers willing and able with different skill sets that want to help support you. So lots of different ways you can be thinking about how to use the platform. So here's some examples. I know you guys mentioned some ideas you already have on how you might want to use this for Give Miami Day. So ask volunteers to create your Give Miami Day posts. I know social media is going to be huge for Give Miami Day. Have them go on Canva for you, or Photoshop, or whatever. I've even seen people who are interested in making podcasts or videos for organizations. So there's all kinds of different ways you can utilize volunteers in different ways. Again, ask for specialized advice. Not only can you, reach out to volunteers to create flyers, but you could ask for those skills that you might not have in-house or your volunteers don't have in-house, including technology, all kinds of things that might help you do better for Give Miami Day. And again, you could also ask for volunteers. I know some of you might be doing in-person events. So maybe you need somebody to come to your organization or come to invite, go to the site again, you can have in-person events and recruit volunteers on the platform. Or even if it's a virtual event, you might need somebody to run your Zoom meeting for you or run the chat or troubleshoot things. All those are things that volunteers can help you with, especially those that are more tech savvy than others, right? So this is an example of what the East West Foundation is doing for virtual volunteer. We're asking for social media posts. We gave them, information about our logos and things in the description, and we are, asking them to do JPEGs and things like that so that we can easily post them on social media. Super easy thing that would probably take me a lot of time to do. And it would just be easier for them to do, right? A volunteer who knows how to use Canva could do it really easily. And again, we already have those 5 volunteers I mentioned who want to volunteer with us. And I've already awarded 2 hours for a file we received as well. So we already have some volunteers who are out there doing work for us. They're very excited about it when it comes to GiveMiamiDay. Now, the other thing too is not just GiveMiamiDay, but thinking about your organizational need for volunteers moving forward is beyond GiveMiamiDay. You're always going to need volunteer help, right? So virtual volunteer is here for beyond GiveMiamiDay too, for anything you can think of. So here's an example as well, the East West Foundation. Again, they work in Brownsville and they do a lot of STEM projects and environmental projects when it comes to teaching students about environmentalism. And they have a curriculum that they wanted developed related to gardening, teaching children in their student gardens at the Clara Muhammad School, which is in Alapata. And so they asked a volunteer to create a lesson plan for them. So what they did was put exactly what they needed, and they got lesson plans. and this was created by a student, like a college student who has experience with the Common Core standards and everything they needed. So they got, support with their lesson plan that they're going to use this fall. So very exciting that they have this lesson plan already done. Okay, so thinking about next steps. I know you guys are going to have some questions. I'm very happy to hear about those. Really, the most important thing for us when it comes to this is for you to create a profile and start using the platform, especially when leading up to GiveMiamiDay. We are offering, the site is totally free to use, so it doesn't cost you anything. But we do have premium features like those reports and things like that I mentioned. So if you want access to the premium features and access to be able to use it for more volunteers than 10 volunteers, then if you sign up in the next 2 weeks on the platform, we'll give you a promo code that you'll unlock all the premium features. And we'll just email it to you after you sign up, and we'll know from your profile. So we are really incentivizing people to use it this fall because, again, we are part of a grant funded initiative. So the more impact we can see and the more kind of lessons learned we gather this fall, the better off we are going to be, especially as we think of sustainability, moving this over to the organization. How much is the premium? Ideally, it shouldn't cost much. I actually want this whole thing to be grant funded forever. So it shouldn't cost you anything, quite frankly. But right now it doesn't cost anything for the premium features. So easy peasy. But at tops, it'll be, I think, $30 a month at top level. But again, don't quote me on it. But my idea is that this whole thing is grant funded for years to come. So, which I have lots of expertise on that, so I'm not worried about it. But if you wanted to be free for as long as possible, you show me the impact, then I will make the funding flow. All right, so that's it. So go ahead if you're interested. Again, you'll have access to all those premium features, and go ahead and get started. And okay, so one other thing we're doing as part of GiveMiamiDay. So I mentioned to you all earlier that I run my own consulting firm. This is just one of the great projects I get to work on. And it's a passion project of mine. So as part of the GiveMiamiDay day, we're giving out a prize for volunteer hours. So as part of GiveMiamiDay, for the organizations that get the most amount of volunteer pledges during Give Miami Day, which is already built into the Give Miami Day platform, we're going to be awarding $1,000 grants to the top 2 small, 2 medium, and 1 large nonprofit that gets the most amount of volunteer hours. So there's even a prize called Level Up Your Impact Prize. So we're very excited about that as well. So to encourage your organizational capacity building, because dollars are important and unrestricted funds are important, but being able to get skilled volunteers and managed volunteers can sometimes be, you know, triple the value. I have a nonprofit organization, which is a free and charitable clinic. Their, you know, monthly, not their monthly, their yearly budget is $4 million, but the value that the providers and volunteer medical professionals bring is close to $12 million. So the volunteer side can be incredibly impactful. And that's it. So questions?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anna. This has been super helpful. So yeah, I really want to encourage everybody to get your questions into the chat. I do think it was very comprehensive, your presentation overall. I think it was super helpful. So I don't know if anyone has questions. Yeah, so contact information for Anna beyond this webinar. So that's actually what I was going to bring up. If there's, you know, beyond the tutorials, the videos, if anyone has any questions about, you know, getting signed up or any questions about the platform in general, who should they contact?
Sure. I mean, you guys can contact me directly, or which I'll put my info in the chat. It's in the slides. So let me put that in there so you guys can have access to it, and I'll drop it in the chat. But Anna@levelupimpact.net is the best way to contact me. Again, I'm one of the people who help support this project. For the most part, Virtual Volunteer Florida is volunteer run. I can tell you that. So again, we're totally grant funded and very excited about this impact. But yeah, if you have any questions, a lot of the information is on our website. So almost everything you need is on the website. All the tutorials are here. But if you need anything directly from me, if you want, you know, to partner or have questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my, trying to get to my slide that has my contact information and copy and paste it so you guys can have it for, here you go. Here's mine. So I'll stick it in the chat. There you go.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And so it looks like we do have a couple questions in the Q&A, but it looks like they're actually more related to the prize. So first question is, what determines the size of the nonprofit? Yeah, so this will be, this is similar to what we've done in past years for all of the prizes. So basically it's determined by your annual operating budget that you input into the application during your registration process. So for smaller, and I don't have the exact numbers here, but it can be found on the website, but basically those with a smaller budget are considered in the small category, medium and large. So yeah, I can definitely try to find those on the website and put them here in the chat if I'm able to find the actual numbers. And then next question, where do volunteers pledge for this prize? Through the Give Miami Day portal or on Virtual Volunteer Florida? So really good question. Yeah, so the reason we are going to be announcing the winners of this prize on November 19th, so the day after Give Miami Day, is that basically we have to wait until midnight on Give Miami Day until all of the pledges have come into the Give Miami Day portal. So as donors are going through, checking out, making a gift to your organization, they can check on the checkout form whether they are interested in volunteering with your organization, and if so, the number of hours that they'd like to pledge. So basically, once we finish, you know, through midnight on November 18th, on Give Miami Day, we'll basically go through and calculate all of those numbers, and then we'll give it to the organizations that have engaged the most amount of volunteers through the Give Miami Day portal. Good questions.
Any other questions? Who's going to sign up? Let's see. I want to see in the chat. Who is going to sign up and create a profile? I want to take a look and see.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think this is an amazing feature. I think it's an amazing website that is something, you know, it feels very intuitive in a lot of ways that so many of our organizations are going to be able to really utilize. Yeah, and I can see in the chat, everybody
already doing it.
Looks like there's some
All
excitement
right.
about it. Yeah. Yeah, and I think
it's very simple. Yeah, for the most part, it's pretty easy. Takes maybe 10 minutes to create an org profile, 5 to 10 minutes if you already have your logo and your website's kind of already set. it's very similar to creating like a LinkedIn profile is what we base it off of.
And I think the fact that you can also, you can communicate directly through the portal, I think that's a huge piece of it. Like just not getting lost in the back and forth of emails, trying to keep all, especially if you have tens of volunteers, several different people helping you out on different projects, that can be very time consuming and very, very challenging. So yeah, that communication piece I think is really key.
Yeah, absolutely. And for one thing I didn't go over too much in the training, but I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a feature that would be handy for organizations that already have volunteers. You can also manage your volunteers and invite your volunteers to create profiles on your platform. So if you click here, these are all my volunteers already, but if I click invite new members, you'll get like a link and they can directly add themselves to the organization. So you have, even if you already have existing volunteers, it helps you manage everybody in one place too. So it's a good opportunity for kind of the volunteers as well to find things to do for you. And at the same time for you yourselves to keep track of their hours, keep track of their activities. And I didn't show you guys too much the volunteer side, but the volunteer side is very easy to navigate as well. So, and another thing that's handy as well, in case it ever happens that you might want to log hours that a volunteer might have gone to an event outside, say for schools and things like that, they can log outside hours through the platform as well and submit them to the nonprofit for validation. And they just click here and they click validate the activity and it would show up on your side. So there's we thought of a lot of different things when it comes to all of the needs that a nonprofit organization has when it comes to managing volunteers. And it's very much intended for you to break down those barriers to volunteers and help you guys do your jobs easier instead of spending all day with Excel spreadsheets, which believe me, I love Excel spreadsheets. But I hate tracking down information.
And I think especially like this is going to be super helpful even, beyond GiveMiamiDay. And I think I'm sure a lot of organizations noted those that participated in GiveMiamiDay last year. We installed the kind of checkout volunteer feature in the GiveMiamiDay portal. But basically the only thing with that is just collecting the volunteer information. And so you can pull your report after the day of. And basically see everyone, all of the names, contact information of the people that are interested in potentially volunteering with your organization. And from there, you can pull that and then, potentially bring it over into this system and really use this system as a really solid way to actually, utilize that data, start getting in touch with people, start sending out those invites to people to really engage, in other volunteer activities throughout the rest of the year and into next year.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I think that's a great way to leverage not only donations, but also volunteers that you need in kind, right? In kind services for your organization. And oftentimes, like you'll see volunteers also turn into donors too. So another way to do donor engagement, thinking like a whole year ahead of the next GiveMiamiDay for 2022 is the more volunteers you kind of engage, the more ambassadors you have for your organization, which helps you spread the word for your organization too. So that's also a super powerful side that I don't think as many organizations think about, is that volunteers can turn into donors, or at least ambassadors that turn into donors.
Absolutely. No, that's a really great point. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions into the chat. So I think you pretty much covered everything. It was very comprehensive. So wanted to give everyone a couple additional quick reminders. So as I mentioned before, we are recording this session. So it's going to be up on GiveMiamiDay.org on the key dates and trainings page. So feel free to access the recording at any time. If you have any questions that come up, feel free to use that as a resource as you get started with your virtual volunteer Florida profile. And then one additional reminder, so we did extend the registration deadline until this Friday, October 8th. And so I know most of you in the chat, I think pretty much everyone here is already registered, but just wanted to send out that reminder in case there's anyone joining us that hasn't already gotten registered. So you'll just need to submit by end of day this Friday, October 8th. And then you will be all set and good to go for this year. So thank you first, Anna. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think this has been, it's going to be a really critical tool for a lot of our organizations. So really excited to continue to help spread the word, especially with our GiveMiamiDay participating nonprofit. So thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time.
No, thank you for having me. And I'm very excited to, again, see the impact that this could potentially have on South Florida. So, and thank you all for being here. I hope to see so exciting impact from you, especially your GiveMiamiDay campaigns. It's like my favorite time of the year.
Definitely. That's what we say at the foundation. It's our favorite holiday of the year. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. And thank you all so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time. And yeah, definitely reach out if you have any questions at all. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.